I just want to kind of talk about what's the best family neighborhood in Calgary. Like, what would you suggest to families?
Yeah, so this is always like a toss up. Like, there's always a handful of neighborhoods that get kind of voted for citywide in Calgary. One of them is one we talked about earlier, which is Mahogany. It's one of the lake communities. It's a lot of like younger families, but then there's also sort of like a more established side of Mahogany. Like, overall, so good for families and like outdoorsy families. Another one is Cougar Ridge is a really good one too. That one is literally minutes from Canada Olympic Park. Like, your kids could walk there after school and hop on their snowboard or their skis, and easy access to the mountains. So that one's huge. But the one that wins year over year, I would have to say, is Brentwood. And it's good location, great transportation over there, and so many paths and hiking and bike paths and stuff like that. Like, just very family orientated for sure.
That one I remember because I have a good friend that used to live there. That's close to the University of Calgary, right?
It is, yeah.
Yes. And so those homes are a bit older. They're built in an older, and then Mahogany and Cougar Creek, you said, are those older or newer? What kind of age of homes are those?
Out of the three, Mahogany would be the newest. They're still building brand new properties there. Yeah, they do a lot of new builds there. Cougar Ridge is definitely newer than Brentwood, but not necessarily new. So,
what side of the city are those like what quadrants are those in Calgary?
Right. So Mahogany would be south quadrant. It's fairly deep south. Cougar Ridge is southwest, but our quadrant, technically it would just be labeled as west, so super close to the mountains. And then Brentwood is a northwest community.
Okay. Yeah. And so here in Edmonton, I always talk to people about west and southwest quadrants being more desirable. Yeah. And we have tons of family communities, just like yourself in Calgary. There's a lot of, I think in Alberta, we just have a lot of family friendly neighborhoods and things to do extracurricular. The ones I always favor, so for newer areas, would be, no bias or anything because I live here, Rosenthal. Rosenthal is one of them. And then another neighborhood would be in the southwest, would be Terwillegar Town in South Terwillegar, actually. So that's just above the Ring Road. It's more affordable. It's in southwest Edmonton, and it's not brand new, but they're definitely not old. They're probably within 10 to 20 years old. And so they're still decent and affordable. Actually, still tons of playgrounds and parks and access to the Edmonton Transit and a rec center. They're right now going through a bunch of construction to expand the road because it's really busy and clogged up over there in that quadrant. And then, I don't know, for a third community, like Rosenthal is brand new. And then also Terwillegar Town Southwest, they're kind of a little bit older. But then I would say also Linwood and Elmwood, they are the 1950s style bungalows, but they're also west. Yeah. And again, no bias because I used to own property there. So
there you go. You know what? We have a Linwood too. There's another one.
Oh, really?
That's
so weird.
Older
we need to go through like a list of communities. And I bet you there's so many. That's so funny.
Like a little tour of each. Like, we'll take a little video and put them side by side.
So if you want to see that, pop your comments down below and we will definitely do that. Sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Yeah. So what about the most expensive neighborhood in Calgary? What are your, I mean, I'm sure there's more than just one, but like, what are your like top one or two?
Top one or two. I'll give you top three because they always kind of fluctuate here and there. Sure. But I would say Roxborough is very expensive.
Where in Calgary is that?
Technically southwest, but it's like inner city. Like, you're right on the Elbow River, basically downtown. Like, walk to all the hip, trendy restaurants. Like, it's a great location.
Okay.
And then Bel Air and Britannia would be the other two. They're sort of side by side, so still downtown, kind of creep into the downtown area, but not quite walkable there.
Okay. So in Edmonton, it's interesting because our most expensive area isn't super walkable, and it's in southwest called Windermere. So we have a ton of really expensive homes. But the commonality there, it's not downtown, it's facing the river valley. So anything facing that river valley is really expensive. The most expensive home in Edmonton that sold this last 60 days was actually located in Windermere at $3.9 million. And it was a bungalow that was over 3,600 square feet. Now, Windermere usually has the more expensive homes because these ones face the river valley. What's the most expensive neighborhood in Calgary?
Like you want the most expensive recent sold and what?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good question. The most recent, most expensive home sold for $5 million, and that was in Upper Mount Royal, which is, I didn't mention it in most expensive neighborhoods, but I mean, if I could group 4 together, that one would definitely be the.
Where is that neighborhood?
So that is very similar to Roxborough in terms of location to downtown, where like here's our 17th Ave strip. You go up, 2 blocks, and this is all Upper Mount Royal. Just beautiful.
That's really interesting because in Edmonton, if you live that close to downtown in the wrong direction, it's like crime city. So
yeah. If you go the other way, we're very similar. But if you're going uphill, you're good.
So Glenora, the neighborhood that I mentioned that was more expensive, that's also really close to downtown on the west side. If you go east of downtown or north of downtown, not the super greatest. And it depends on the neighborhood, of course. But in the most expensive neighborhoods in Edmonton would normally be around the Glenora, which is downtown, Windermere, which is southwest, and also Windsor Park, which is right on like university campus, again, facing the river valley. You guys have Windsor Park too?
We have a Windsor Park. We have to make a list. There's too many.
Is Windsor Park expensive?
Windsor Park is older. They do have some very expensive homes, but they also have very affordable homes. It's really
Here in Edmonton, Windsor Park is not affordable. Okay. It is huge lots and lots of prestigious people who live there in terms of, because it's really expensive to live there. And you have really close access to the River Valley and to the University of Alberta Hospital. So it's not super affordable.
Windsor Park is actually really close to one of our hospitals too. It sounds like they just like picked the name and like made it almost the identical community.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So thanks so much everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you want to show us both some love, go find us on social media and like our post. Talk to you guys later.